Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with match number 1 with the Season's Pass Control. I think that this is a decent hand. It has 3 lands, all of our sources for the Painful Truths, has the double black for the Ob Nixilis. We are light on any sort of removal. The one of Season's Pass in our hand is going to be late, and so if we don't draw any sort of like a Radiant Flames or removal, we could just get run over. But I still think this is definitely a keepable hand. On the draw here too, so we're going to have some more information. So it's a red-white deck, which typically are pretty fast, but there is some other versions of the color combination that are slower. We'll just lead off with the Hissing Quagmire and then pass the turn, probably crack an Evolving Wilds next turn. Or, yeah, that's probably the right move so we can get a red source. So Concealed Courtyard from an Inspiring Vantage, and it is going to be a Veteran Motorist, so this ends up being a very weak hand for a more aggressive deck. It's probably either 3 or 4 color aggro that we're playing against. You see this deck every now and again, usually splashing for Unlicensed Disintegration and the Scrap Heap Scrounger. So another Evolving Wilds. Of course, that's not a card I wanted to see. I'm going to crack this into turn, not give my opponent any more information to what we are playing, but need to draw into Deadweight, Grasp of Darkness, Radiant Flames would be the best card we could draw into. And there's the Depala, so we absolutely need to draw into a Radiant Flames, or we will just get run over. So going down to a 16, it's one of the better draws by our opponents curving into the 2 and 3. A 4 swinging for 4 on turn 3 is definitely not that bad of a game plan or a play. We will get the Mountain, and let's cross our fingers for that Radiant Flames. Another Hissing Quagmires. I think I have to Painful Truce here to try to find any sort of removal, even though this ends up dishing off a ton of damage to us. And I think this is pretty much going to be game. We drew into way too many lands. Dark Salvation will still actually be pretty terrible. So we will go ahead and discard the Hissing Quagmires. I think that they are the Evolving Wilds and Hissing Quagmire are kind of the weak links. And we're going to be taking a massive amount of damage on this turn. So 7. So it's basically top deck into Radiant Flames or bust here. As if he plays another creature this turn, we will not have enough blockers for the turn after. I could put out a Dark Salvation and then have it run into any number of removal spells and then just die. And the Toolcraft comes down, as well as the Scrounger. So yeah, we have 1 draw. Try to hit a Radiant Flames off the top. It's a Grasp of Darkness, which I believe we still die 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that is game. And I'm going to show him anything else as we just get run down. So here's where we bring in the Radiant Flames. Again, we have so much removal in this deck. This should be a pretty decent matchup. So I'm going to bring in the Radiant Flames. I'm going to bring in the Essence Extraction. And then we can take out a Diabolical Tutor, a Season's Past, and then anything else that's slower. I still like the Shamble Back if he's going to be running the Scrap Heap Scrounger, so it's not a dead card in this one. The Transgresses are pretty weak. I'm going to take out all of the Transgress the Minds. And then we have, everything is very impactful for this deck, so we just need to avoid this more top end. I could actually even take out both the Diabolic Tutor and Seasons Past, because it's just like a card that is pretty much dead. I mean, the Diabolic Tutor can go get a Radiant Flame, so that's probably not that bad of a game plan. But I'm thinking that Tireless Tracker's fine here. It's something he has to deal with. I'm just thinking that Seasons Past and Tutor are probably not what we want to be doing in this matchup. The Salvation is also... I don't like Salvation as much in this type of matchup if I'm not going to be using the Seasons Past combo. I think Nissa's Renewal is fine. It gains some life. I think that just bringing in like cards like Chandra, Torture Defiance, possibly just maybe this other one of Seasons Past could come back in. I'm not sure if a Ruinous Path is... Oh, we want the natural state and the appetite. And let's go to 1 Chandra. So we want our curve very low. We want to be able to sweep the board with the Radiant Flames and then pick off all of the remaining creatures with our spot removal. So I am going to keep in Painful Truce. I think that the Painful Truce in this matchup can be kind of a double-edged sword, but we need a better way to fill up, and I think it's not going to be Seasons Past, but I don't know, maybe the 3 of is a little bit high, and just like another Ruinous Path is the way to go. I'm going to resubmit this, see if we got it in on time. And this is okay. We have removal. We have a natural state to take care of. It is an artifact-based set, and the Liliana is going to be very powerful here. I'm just going to Evolving Wilds and crack and grab a Swamp. That way we can cast the Ruinous Path and the Liliana. And then the Inventor's Apprentice is good because we'll natural state whatever he puts out. So if it's like a chopper, we're only taking 1 next turn. And then Liliana is going to be able to take care of anything else that comes out. I hope he does run the chopper. So it's a scrap heap. We'll natural state it. And then Liliana is going to shut down the Inventor's Apprentice. And now we're pretty much good to go. We've got the board mostly controlled. We'll Ruinous Path whatever he puts out next turn. The Scrap Heap is a renewable resource. That's what I do like to Shamble Back. It takes care of it and gives us a 2/2 blocker. But if he puts out Depala here, Cultivator's Caravan. Cultivator's Caravan is something that I need to... He can't crew it. Unfortunately, we have it. The sorcery speed is very awkward on the... I think I need to fill back up the hand. I'm not going to care about the Inventor's Apprentice. And we find... No, we didn't find any removal. So if he can crew the Cultivator's Caravan with like a Depala, we'll lose the Liliana. But it is absorbing 5 damage. And we'll start to have the Tireless Tracker. Just Gideon, so he actually cannot crew. This turn we'll be able to kill the Gideon with the Ruinous Path. I think that's still the right play. And he'll still be left trying to crew, and then Liliana will be at 6 at that point. I mean, I would love to get out of Tireless Tracker. The only other possibility is Radiant Flames might be a decent little card to draw into at this point. The Nissa's Renewal is going to give us a lot of life. But Gideon is something I can definitely take care of. So this will allow me just to play the Hissing Quagmire into play. And then kill Gideon. And then at least dumb down the Knight or the Apprentice. I don't think it really matters too much at this point. He just needs to cast one more creature to crew. So we'll dumb down the Knight. And Liliana will absorb probably 6 damage. I think he still has to... I think that if he had something to immediately crew, the Cultivator's Caravan, he would have done it last turn. But like a Depala here, crew the Cultivator's Caravan, and then swing into Liliana is definitely a decent play. And there's another one. I mean, Chandra will be really, really good. Double Inventor's Apprentice. So, Radiant Flames. I still think he's going to attack into Liliana. But this is actually scary. He's got quite a bit of aggression going. So I think I need a Nissa's Renewal, but do I die? Let's see. Cruise, and I take 9. No, but I'll gain 7 off the Nissa's Renewal. So I think I'm in pretty decent shape, and then Chandra will wipe the board. Smoldering Marsh actually can do Chandra right now, though, so that was a great draw. And this is huge value. We'll -3 Chandra. That is a lot of Inventor's Apprentice that are dead. So, and he doesn't have a black source this turn for the scrap heap, so Chandra is going to live. And then we can Tracker and start getting some value out of Tracker. We are a bit mana flooded at this point, but with the Tireless Tracker, that gives us mana to utilize every turn. Our opponent also seems to be a bit flooded out. We've taken care of one Gideon, which the deck usually runs 2. There sometimes can be 2 in the sideboard that our opponent that brought in. But for the most part, I think that's one of the tougher cards for us to handle, and we've already got it out of the way. And if he can crew the Cultivator's Caravan, it most likely will have to. It's going to be. Well, there is the other Gideon. Gideon cannot survive, though. Yes, it can. We can activate the Hissing Quagmire and kill Gideon. He decides just to pump it up. It doesn't have haste, though. Oh, so he can crew the Cultivator's Caravan. Yeah, but then he'll lose his. No, he will not lose his Gideon now because it attacks into Chandra. That does use his turn. So Chandra absorbed a lot of damage. And our opponent still has 1 card in hand. So another Ruinous Path. Actually, we did use the one. I didn't bring in the other Ruinous Path, which might have been a mistake. We have another Tracker. So I think I just will play both Trackers. Which gives us some clues. And 2 cards in our opponent's hand. I doubt he goes the Gideon route this turn. He might. Would put me down to 11. The Nissa's Renewal is going to be amazing next turn. It'll gain a 7 life and a bazillion clues. And we can actually crack one of those clues. And have 2, 4, 3 Tireless Trackers. So worst case scenario is he has some Declaration in Stone in hand. I think that he might bring that in because there is cards like Kalitas that they need to answer. So I'm actually quite surprised that Gideon is going to attack in here. So I go down to an 11. But he's going to have a hard time protecting Gideon, especially since the Scrap Heap Scrounger cannot block. So he'll have to have enough to crew the Cultivator's Caravan. I could just go all out in Tireless Trackers here. He does have the Declaration in Stone. Yuck. So that was the perfect answer to the double Tireless Tracker. We do have a lot of card draw here. I think I will Nissa's Renewal. Gives us the best play the following turn. And we'll grab Forest and Swamp. We don't need anything in the deck with multiple red sources after this. So Swamp Forest, I think, is the right play. Throw the other forest out here and crack a clue. Noxious Gearehulk will be okay if he gives me a target. I'm surprised he didn't Scrap Heap Scrounger in a turn. That was a mistake. Passed the turn too quickly. With the Cultivator's Caravan, can tap for any mana. So that Gideon might just continue pumping up Gideon. I mean, Gideon's almost at the point where it can Emblem and twice. So that's going to be his line of play. And hopefully it gives me a target for the Noxious Gearehulk. Alright, no target. Painful Truce is fine. We'll cast it. Essex Extraction is kind of weak. I'm going to thin out some more with Evolving Wilds. We're going to crack a clue. And that was a beautiful draw. It gets rid of the Gideon. So we did bring in the other Ruinous Path. All right, so that was... Oh yeah, that was my last update before we resubmitted. So both, so getting is taken care of. We have an Essence Extraction to take care of. He did not use the Cultivator's Caravan again. And the Smuggler's Copter here. Now he could. No, does he forget that his Cultivator's Caravan can tap for a black for the Scrap Heap Scrounger? Kind of awkward. There's a Radiant Flames that's very late. And a Chandra. So Chandra is actually really good here. As we can exile the top card. And there's no target for the deadweight, so it automatically just puts it in the exile zone. We can crack another clue. And not a lot of lands left in our deck. I think there's like... Yeah, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have a few Evolving Wilds left and 2 more lands. Yeah, that's wow. Out of 28 cards, we have plenty of gas. Opponent again doesn't use the Scrap Heap Scrounger, so he's been doing a favor here for me. And I tapped on my green, so he's free to go crew and kill my Chandra. So that was a huge mistake on my part. But it seems like he's going to not go for the crew, so I'm actually going to let it attack here. Because he should have crewed the Caravan with the Copter. So a construct crewing a Copter, crewing a Caravan. That's a sight to behold. So he does get a loot of land away, most likely. That's what's been filling up in the hand. A Declaration Stone gone. And I don't know how this game would have actually panned out. This gives me a lot of ammo for my Radiant Flames. But I actually might want to go Noxious Gearehulk. We'll see. We still have a bunch of draws here. Kalitas actually pretty much seals the deal. We're going to Kalitas. And then Radiant Flames for just 2. Leaves us a green source too. There's no point over 2. I don't want to put any unnecessary damage on my... And there's the concession. So, again, I don't even know how that game would have panned out if you had been activating the Scrap Heap Scroungers with the Cultivator's Caravan. So I wish I had a little more artifact hate in here. I don't think that I really need to bring in much. We did draw into the 2 Painful Truths. Dragonmaster Outcast actually might be decent in this matchup. It's one of cards I like to use with Seasons Past. If he's going to run that many ways to interact, I still think Tireless Tracker's fine. Yeah, I don't think I really want to make any changes. Chandra better than Nissa. That's the real. I think Ob Nixilis might be better than Nissa. Just the double Ob Nixilis. It's still creature removal, even though it's pretty late. And there, I don't think there's any bad cards to put in here. Painful Truce worked in that game, but To the Slaughter might actually be weak against this type of deck. It will just get rid of usually just a card that, but it still is removal. I think I'm going to get rid of a To the Slaughter for a Chandra. Alrighty, so this is the hand that is really, really good with the Radiant Flames. Our opponent does mulligan. Radiant Flames is weaker against vehicles because the Scrappy Scroungers and the Choppers, Scroungers just keep coming back, and Choppers just completely dodge the Radiant Flames. I'm thinking of adding one more artifact removal in the deck. I'm liking the 4-drop gain 4 life, destroy an artifact. Just because it's gain 4 life. I think that in this deck, that's exactly what you want to be doing. He does have a faster hand with the Apprentice, so I'm just going to, there's no point not to run out the Smoldering Marsh here. So hopefully the Radiant Flames will stabilize us. Chopper would be the worst card for us to deal with. Another Apprentice, and if it's not, yeah, he's got an extremely weak hand. It's not going to do a lot of damage by the time the Radiant Flames comes down. Yeah, unfortunately we drew into another land. We will throw out the Smoldering Marsh. Maybe I should have put out a Swamp because it kind of makes him think of Grass of Darkness. And there's a Scrappy. So we're taking 4, but this is pretty huge. Radiant Flames on turn 3. So Evolving Wilds drew land and land. But this is pretty decent. We'll Painful Truce next turn. And our opponent did mulligan, stuck on 2 lands. Really in the driver's seat here. We'll Painful Truce. And grab, just Evolving Wilds can go grab another black source. We have everything we need. And we'll end up actually discarding a swamp. So he has a turn to do something here. 3, which could be Cultivator's Caravan. It's going to be Thalia. Thalia will die to Collective Brutality. And I actually have quite a... Yeah, we'll get rid of an Evolving Wilds. I still think... So we can Traverse for a card. So we have Sorcery, Sorcery. So Traverse is actually terrible here still. Sorcery land is all we have in our graveyard. So I want the Blighted Fen. So we are going to Collective Brutality probably for quite a bit here. So I want to get rid of a Declaration Stone. So I'm probably going to get rid of a Swamp and an Evolving Wilds. So we're going to choose 3 modes. So here, here, and here. And discard the Evolving Wilds and discard the Swamp. So we do get them Licensed Disintegration. And we gain some life, and we also get rid of a card out of our opponent's hand. So I'm just going to cast a Traverse. I'm so far away from really doing anything. And we'll grab another Swamp here. And that thins us out. I guess I didn't even need to get rid of Evolving Wilds there. So Gideon does come out. But Gideon will... Ugh. I want a Chandra. And attack in a Gideon. So that way he has to kill his Knight ally, then attack in. Kind of a difficult... No, I need to kill Gideon, so I need to keep Chandra in my hand for this next turn to Grass of Darkness. I'm going to take a lot of damage here, though. Because I need to kill whatever blocker he puts out, because Chandra does need to go... Surprised he actually went that route. And another Thalia. Yeah, we're just going to get some value out of Chandra, I think, and force Gideon to attack in. Which is not ideal. Ugh, that is actually pretty gross. Because we're going to lose Chandra, but we do wipe the field. We get a Tireless Tracker for the turn after, so that at least gives me some play. So with Chandra, -2 Chandra. And then play a Blighted Fen, and this should force him. He still doesn't activate that Scrappy Scrounger with the... Yeah, and this has to go into Chandra. I don't think he has any way around it. So Chandra does die, but we do have Tireless Tracker, which will gain us some life next turn and a Grass of Darkness to take care of whatever else. So far so good. We'll see what Gideon ends up doing. I think he should just keep creating 2/2s. He wants to protect it. He could come in for 5 damage. But Harness Lightning, that does create a pickle. And he's going to attack in with Gideon. We'll take care of the Inventor's Apprentice. And I'm down to a 7. So I need to avoid drawing lands for the next few turns. But we do have a lot of action through. Well, there's a Pilgrim's Eye. And grab. I still think we need. Yeah, Swamp's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do want to utilize the Blighted Fen if you get sloppy with Gideon here. Well, he hasn't used the Scrap Heap Scrounger up to this point. See if he actually catches it this time. Wow. Our opponent, I don't think, understands the power of this card. Or just forgets about it. You have the hubs and the... maybe... I don't know what's going on. Alright, Tireless Tracker was the best draw possible. And a Ruinous Path is beautiful. We're not going to attack into anything because we'd rather have the Pilgrim's Eye block a Scrap Heap Scrounger that apparently is in Exile Zone. Not in the graveyard. Yeah, I don't know how these games would have worked out. I think we'd be, if he would have been using those. It does have the Declaration again for the Tireless Tracker. Did he have that in hand? I can't remember if that was in or not, but it does give us a clue and a clue, which is exactly what we want from it. And there's a Murder, so now we're definitely in the driver's seat. Another Radiant Flames. We need to start getting in with Hissing Quagmires. Yeah, that... Such a waste here. I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 activations with the Scrap Heap Scrounger. And now we just have to grind him out. Noxious Gearehulk is a great backup plan. He's down to a 12. Grass of Darkness, another awesome. And now I've got some padding, so I can actually go with 2 Hissing Quagmires. And still no activation of the Scrap Heap. So he does get the other Gideon, but he's not going to like the play. As we're going to Ruinous Path. So 7 mana. So we need to keep up like that. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, keep up one of each. And cast with Awaken. And we'll Awaken the Smoldering Marsh. No, we want a Hissing Quagmire to Awaken. Yeah. And I'm going to actually keep it back. As there's no point to attack in with the Hissing Quagmire when it can be cast for a murder. If that makes sense. Like, we aren't in any... it's our game to lose. So, I mean, if he does activate that Scrap Heap Scrounger, have some sort of unlicensed disintegration, and another way, I mean, theoretically, there would be a way to top deck his way out of there and do 7 damage. But I think that we won that mainly just because he forgot about Scrap Heap Scrounger for 2 games when he could have utilized them. So we'll go on to game number 2. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.